Hello and welcome to WCBN FM Ann Arbor's broadcast of Michigan softball. We are coming at you live from Alumni Field, where today the Michigan Wolverines are about to take on the Michigan State Spartans in a Big Ten showdown. Before we get started, we are going to take some time and pause for the national anthem.
With the playing of our national anthem, performed tonight by the Michigan Alumni Band.
That right there, folks, was the University of Michigan Alumni Band playing the Star-Spangled Banner. And with that, the Wolverines have taken the field. We're almost ready to get underway. In the circle today for the Wolverines, Sarah Driesinga looking to face these Michigan State Spartans and give the Wolverines a midweek win. Brett, what are some things we should expect out of this game today?
Well, what you're going to expect is a lot of what you saw not even a week ago when the Michigan State Spartans came and got a little bit of a walloping against the Michigan Wolverines. They were shut out 3-0. What happened in that game was a lot of small ball for the Michigan Wolverines, not something that they're used to playing. All scores came on a fielder's choice, on an error, and on a wild pitch. Betsa, who pitched that day, was absolutely fantastic. She had 13 strikeouts, let up just 2 hits, and she put together her 5th shutout of the season. The question today is, with Driesinga on the mound, can the Michigan State Spartans get some runs early and avoid some of the disadvantages that plagued them late in the game last time?
Betsa struck out 13 on her way to a complete game shutout against the Spartans in that midweek showdown, part of a week that earned her the Big Ten Pitcher of the Week award today. Driesinga looking to replicate some of that success against the Michigan State Spartans lineup. For the Spartans, leading off this inning will be the left fielder Ebony Eccles. She will be backed up in the lineup by the shortstop Mackenzie Long and the designated player Cassidy Kujawa. It's about 55 degrees here at Alumni Field, a cold one. We are outside under the lights. A cloudy sky blankets us, the wind blowing out toward left field ever so slightly. It'll be Aiden Falk, your catcher for today's game for the Wolverines. She goes back behind the plate. The home plate umpire, Mike Burwell. At first base, Anthony Lewis. And at third, Elizabeth Hammerschmidt. A lot of wind gusts blowing around our papers as we prepare for the opening pitch. Mana Morano shaded way in at third base. Driesinga lines, and the first pitch is taken right down Broadway for a called strike one.
Yeah, it's definitely not warm out here, Morris, but I think we can manage. We've got some nice quarter zips on, and Adam Broadnack's here, our spotter, to catch some stray papers if that should happen.
Yeah, you can speak for yourself. The 0-1 on its way, swinging a tapper back to the mound, fielded by Driesinga. Tosses over to Blanco at first base. 1 up and 1 down for the Spartans here in the top half of the first inning. That's going to bring up Mackenzie Long, the sophomore shortstop, hitting .293 with 3 home runs and 22 RBI. Michigan State has 2 lefties leading off the lineup today. Long steps out, takes some practice hacks, and now steps back into the box. She stands with a slightly open stance, weight on her back foot. The first pitch she takes, and it's a called strike, a fastball about belt high on the outer half. The outfield shaded straight away on Long. The infield also straight away up the middle with Mana Morano playing about 8 or 9 steps in off of third base. Driesinga gets the sign, winds, and delivers. Big cut and a miss from Long. She's behind in the count 0-2.
It was a phenomenal pitch and not very much momentum there on that swing from Long.
Driesinga attacking these hitters early, has yet to throw a ball. Driesinga gets the sign, works quickly. The 0-2 pitch bunted right back to Driesinga. Fields on one hop. She throws over to Blanco at first, and 2 up, 2 down quickly for the Spartans here in the top of the first inning.
Driesinga was drafted actually the other day to Houston to the Scrapyard Dogs, and you can see some of that stuff that makes her a national prospect right now.
Yeah, that's Dogs with a W, D-A-W-G-S.
D-A-W-G, of course, yes.
That's going to bring up Cassidy Kajawa. The first pitch she sees is a breaking ball on the outside corner at the knees. Good location there from Driesinga for strike 1. Kajawa hitting .314 on the season with 5 home runs and 12 RBI. On deck for the Spartans is the righty first baseman, Sarah Gutnick. Outfield, infield traded straight away on the righty Kajawa. The 0-1 pitch is a fastball that misses off the plate outside. The count even at 1-1 now.
What you're seeing here from Driesinga, it's not about overpowering speed or anything like that. It's a lot about location, what you see at this point.
1-1 the count. Nobody on 2 outs for the Spartans in the top of the first. Kajawa awaits. Driesinga winds. The 1-1 swinging a pop-up down the right field line, tailing toward the bullpen, and that's going to land in the Michigan bullpen. A foul ball and strike 2. Driesinga has been ahead in the count on each of these Michigan State hitters. Tara Blanco comes in from first base, slaps her 5, and heads back to her spot. Kajawa, a righty, stands with an open stance, leans backward as she awaits the pitch. Pulls the bat parallel to the ground over her right shoulder. Driesinga winds. The 1-2 pitch swung on and popped up foul over the press box and out of play into the concession area. It goes. The count remains 1-2. Driesinga getting in on the hands of Kajawa.
Yeah, that's what you saw on both foul balls. Really inside. She can't get the good part of the bat on it.
Not a great crowd here at Alumni Field, but still pretty impressive given that it is a chilly Tuesday afternoon. Evening, if you will. The 1-2 pitch again on its way, swinging a foul back to the screen. Driesinga hammering the inside part of the plate on Kajawa, and she can't quite square it up yet. Kajawa has appeared in 36 games this year for the Spartans, only started 26, also spent some time in outfield, but today a designated player. She awaits the 1-2 pitch again on its way, swinging a hot shot down to first, gloved on one bounce by Tara Blanco. She steps on first base, and that will do it for the Michigan State Spartans in the top half of the first inning. We head to the bottom of the first. Michigan tied scoreless with the Spartans here at Alumni Field on WCBN FM Ann Arbor's broadcast of Michigan softball. We thank those of you who have tuned in today.
A great start there from Driesinga. You can see why her ERA is the way it is this year. She came off of an injury last year that kept her out of the action, but you can tell that she's definitely happy to be back this year. And the question now is, as we head to the bottom of the first, is Michigan going to rely on that small ball that they saw last time they faced the Spartans, or is Goranson going to be able to give something else up? Well, what's the strategy going to be there from Hutch?
Goranson in the circle today for the Spartans has a .352 ERA on the year, 7-6 win-loss record, has started 13 games, thrown 3 complete games, 22 walks and 39 strikeouts in 73 2/3 innings. The lineup she will face, leading off playing center field, is Sierra Lawrence. Hitting second and playing second base, Sierra Romero. Hitting third, playing left field, restored to her number 3 spot in the order, is Kelly Christner. Hitting fourth, playing right field, Kelsey Susella. It is Kelsey Susella Day here at Alumni Field, so fans have cutouts of her head that they can wave around. Hitting fifth, playing first base, the hero from Sunday's game, Tara Blanco. Hitting sixth, playing third base, Lindsay Montemurano. Hitting seventh, the catcher, Aiden Falk. Hitting eighth, the designated player, Faith Canfield. And hitting ninth at shortstop is Abby Ramirez. We're almost ready to get back underway for the bottom of the first here at Alumni Field. The wind has started to pick up. The American flag in center field has started rippling with more velocity. We'll fill you on the rest of the Spartans lineup while we have the chance. Hitting fourth, the first baseman, Sarah Gutnick. Hitting fifth, the center fielder, Leah Forster. Hitting sixth, the right fielder, Lexi White. Hitting seventh at third base is Shannon Thomas. Hitting eighth, the catcher, Lindsey Besson. And hitting ninth, the second baseman, Destiny Luna. Sierra Lawrence readies to step into that righty batter's box for the Wolverines. She's hitting .402 on the season with 7 home runs and 28 RBI. The outfield shading deep on the Michigan righty.
Way deep, pretty much at the warning track.
Goranson winds and delivers. Big cut and a miss. The first pitch, a breaking ball that dropped out of the zone. Lawrence comes up empty. Lawrence hitting .583 when leading off innings this year as a .535 on base percentage overall. She stands with a wide open stance. Not much movement in her stance. Awaits the 1-0 pitch, swinging a tapper toward the left side, fielded by Long. Fires across the diamond and just gets Lawrence by less than a half step. Long had to hurry over there at shortstop, but able to get the throw over to first just in time.
You can tell by how deep this outfield is playing and by how the infield is positioned as well. They know that this is a Michigan high-powered offense. Last time they played just 6 days ago was one of the 2 times in the past month that the Michigan Wolverines have been held to under 4 runs.
Sierra Romero steps into the batter's box, awaits the first pitch from Goranson. Fastball misses off the plate inside for ball 1. Michigan State wearing green pants with a white stripe down vertically and a darker green uniform that incidentally happens to make it almost impossible to see their jersey numbers. The 1-0 pitch on its way from Goranson. Fastball called strike at the knees on the outside corner, and the count evens at 1-1.
Romero sporting one of the most impressive averages on the team at .480 on the year, over 102 at-bats.
The outfield shaded deep, infield straight away on Romero. Goranson gets the sign, winds, and delivers. The 1-1 fastball misses high in the count now. 2-1 on Sierra Romero. Maybe even more impressive than that .480 batting average. Her on-base percentage, .600 on the season. Goranson has a long delayed dipping motion as she delivers to the plate. She leans back, dips low, winds, and delivers the 2-1 pitch, swinging a tapper back to the mound, fielded on the short hop by Goranson. She tosses over to first and retires Romero there. 2 up, 2 down for the Wolverines in the bottom of the first inning.
That's what we're used to from Romero, getting ahead in the count and not striking out. Of the 102 at-bats that she's had over the course of the year, she's only struck out 9 times. She definitely knows how to work a pitcher, and at the very least, ground out, put the ball in play.
That'll bring up Kelly Christner. She's hitting .303 on the year, 5 home runs, 20 RBI. The first pitch on its way from Goranson. Hard breaking ball, misses low for ball 1. It was a close pitch. Catcher Lindsey Besson tried to frame it, but could not get the call from home plate umpire Mike Burwell. Goranson looks in, gets the sign, winds, and delivers the 1-0 pitch. Christner takes in that one, a called strike. Fastball thigh high on the outer edge, and the count now 1-1.
I guess that's one of the headaches of opposing pitchers when they face the Wolverines. The lowest batting average that you're seeing throughout the entire lineup is with Monte Morano at .278.
The 1-1 on its way, breaking ball on the outside half for a called strike 2. Good change of pace there from the pitcher Goranson.
It slowed down right as it got to the plate and then dropped down and left.
1-2 the count on Christner. Nobody on, 2 outs for the Wolverines here in the bottom of the first. Goranson gets her sign, winds, and delivers the 1-2 pitch. Swing and a hot shot. Gloved on the backhand by Long. She fires over to first, not in time. Christner just able to beat it out. Would have been a spectacular play there by Mackenzie Long at short, but Christner showing the speed and getting on first base.
Yeah, it was a decent play there by Long, but didn't really have an option there. She couldn't extend far enough to make it to that third out of the inning, and kind of had to stay back a little bit and make sure that she was on the bag. Great single there from Kelly Christner.
Christner's got some speed. She is a threat to go over at first base. Only 4 stolen bases in 5 attempts on the year, however. That brings up Kelsey Susala. She stands with an open stance in the lefty batter's box toward the front of the box. Goranson gets the sign, winds, and delivers the first pitch, misses low for ball 1.
Susala, definitely the kind of batter that is not intimidated with 2 outs already gone. That's about the same, 310 with 2 outs and 324 regularly.
The right fielder, Lexi White for the Spartans, has her left foot on the warning track, shaded over toward the line. They're shading Susala to pull. The 1-0 pitch on its way. Fastball misses low, and the count now 2-0 on Kelsey Susala with Tara Blanco waiting on deck.
Wow, this wind is picking up a little bit. I'm curious whether or not it's going to be enough to affect the gameplay or if it's just affecting us up here.
Goranson gets the sign, the 2-0 pitch. Swing and a drive high. It is far. That one is way gone. Between the bleachers, out of here to right field. An absolute bomb off the bat of Kelsey Susala. Susala with the long balla in Michigan, up 2-0 on the Michigan State Spartans.
Wow, I like that. Susala with the long balla.
It's been done before, but man, she absolutely crushed that one. The minute it left the bat, you knew that one was going a long, long ways. It might still be rolling.
She definitely got a hold of that one, and it went straight between the bleachers in right field here at Alumni. And, man, she really got a hold of that.
Almost went over the bleachers.
Yeah.
It would have landed in one of the top 5 rows if not for its accuracy in splitting them.
And now Goranson's got to keep her composure because it's not as though the third out of this inning is going to be anything easy. She's got Tara Blanco to face next.
Goranson lines the first pitch to Blanco. Breaking ball misses low for ball 1. Blanco hit a 3-run home run when Michigan was down 3-2 in the Sunday game against the Buckeyes. That was the difference as Michigan won that game 5-3 and recorded the sweep. Blanco hitting .417 on the year, 5 home runs, 43 RBI. The 1-0 on its way, fastball on the inside corner for a called strike 1. Blanco twisted out of the way, but couldn't get the call.
Yeah, Blanco didn't like that one, and I think part of her body language there and her movement was to try to designate to the ump that it was inside on the inside corner, but not good enough.
Goranson looks in, gets her sign. The 1-1 on its way, breaking ball, big swing and a miss from Blanco. She lunged at that one, guessing fastball, but Goranson able to pull the string.
I wouldn't be surprised if I learned that was an off-speed pitch just based on how in front of it Blanco was. Her front leg was way out there. She thought that she had the better of it, and I think it was probably off-speed.
Goranson looks and winds. The 1-2 pitch. Fastball called strike 3. Tara Blanco rung up, down on strikes. And that does it for the Michigan Wolverines in the bottom of the first inning, but not until after they record 2 runs on the home run from Kelsey Susala. We head into the top of the second inning. Michigan leads the Michigan State Spartans 2-0 here at Alumni Field.
Might be a little bit more difficult for Sarah Drzinga as we go into the second inning, hitting definitely in the heart of this Michigan State lineup that has been one of the best in program history. They've been putting up offensive numbers that rank among the top 10, actually, in program history. And they have 4 players who are hitting .366 or better. Most of them you'll be seeing this inning, including Sarah Gutnick, who will be batting leadoff in the second inning for the Spartans.
Gutnick leading things off. She'll be followed by Leah Forster and Lexi White. Drzinga pitched a spotless first inning, recording 2 outs herself via comebackers. She carved through the top of the Spartans lineup and now has a 2-0 lead to protect here in the top of the second inning. It is not a picturesque day here at Alumni Field. We have mentioned as much, but it really is a bit of a departure from this weekend, which was probably the most pleasant one of the calendar year 2016.
Oh, without a question, the most pleasant one of...
Unless you like cold and snowy.
Unless you like cold and snowy, then you got some others to choose from. But what you saw yesterday was everybody in Ann Arbor, it seemed like, was outside. And I imagine that if this game were being played yesterday, that the stands might be full. But we are finals and...
Sorry, we are currently being simulcast on the Daily Sports Report on 88.3 WCBN FM Ann Arbor. We do that show Monday through Thursday, 6 to 6:30. So if you're new to the show, be sure to tune in then. The first pitch from Drzinga dips low and inside for ball 1 on the first baseman, Gutnick. Sarah Gutnick hitting .386 on the season, 3 home runs, 26 RBI. She has started in 40 out of Michigan State's 43 games. Gets the sign, delivers. Gutnick swings and pops it foul out of play on the right side over the press box and off of the Donald R. Shepard softball center. The count moves to 1-1.
You're seeing very clearly how Drzinga likes to pitch as a righty against these lefty batters. She likes to get right into. Excuse me.
I mean, you said against the lefties, but Gutnick is a righty. The 1-1 pitch misses high for ball one.
My bad.
It's all right. It's not color commentary without that bit of color, I guess. The count now 2-1 on the right-handed hitting Gutnick. She stands tall in the box. Holds the bat even at chest level. The 2-1 pitch, swinging a tapper over to second, fielded by Romero on a few hops. Tosses over to Blanco. It's a routine ground out for Sarah Gutnick. And 1 up, 1 down for the Spartans here in the top half of the second inning. Due up now for Michigan State. The lefty, the center fielder, Leah Forster. She's hitting .380 on the season as the sophomore. She's appeared and started in every Michigan State game, a mainstay in this lineup. She has 4 home runs and 17 RBI. First pitch from Driesinga, swing and a pop-up in front of the circle. Driesinga camps under it and makes the catch. So 1 pitch, 1 out for Forster. 2 up, 2 down for the Spartans here in the top of the second, and that brings up Lexi White, the right fielder.
It's a testament to how well Driesinga has been pitching thus far that she has been a part of every out thus far except for the first one of the second inning. It was a 1-3, a 1-3, a 1, and then a 1.
And White swings and grounds it slowly over to third. Montemurano fields, fires across the diamond, and it is a 5-pitch inning for Sarah Driesinga. Michigan State goes down in order. We head to the bottom of the second inning. Michigan leading the Spartans 2-0 here at Alumni Field. You are listening to WCBN FM Ann Arbor's broadcast of Michigan softball. Thank you for tuning in.
That was a really quick inning, and if you're Hutch, you're very happy with how quickly that she disposed of the middle, as I said, going into one of the meatiest parts of the Spartan lineup, and 3 up, 3 down, and in very short order.
Yeah, that's how Driesinga works, though. She's not quite as eye-popping to watch as Megan Betzo with her astronomical strikeout numbers, but at the same time, she works quickly. She attacks the strike zone. She makes sure that if she's going to get beat, it's not going to be in a self-inflicted fashion. The hitters are going to have to square up the balls and get it done themselves. And against this Michigan defense that is so fundamentally sound and so athletic, I mean, you know, you watch this team enough, you end up saying good things about every aspect of them because they tend to be so dominant. But it really is the reality, especially when you come into Alumni Field, they're performing in front of their home fans. It's a tall task for any team to come beat them.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you can say a lot of good things for the Michigan Wolverines. It's one of the reasons why they're ranked number 2 nationally. And it's kind of hard to pick out some very specific flaws, especially so early in this game when they've jumped out to a 2-run lead, and both top of the innings, the ball has barely gotten out of the infield. It hasn't gotten out of the infield as of yet. It stayed in front of the circle both times.
Leading off the inning for the Wolverines, the third baseman, Lindsay Montemurano. She's hitting .278 on the season, has a .429 on-base percentage, however, as she knows how to work a walk. Montemurano has 8 home runs, good for second on the team, and 25 RBI. The righty stands toward the front of the box, feet just a little over shoulder length apart. Goranson winds. The first pitch, a breaking ball, misses low. Montemurano squared the bunt but pulled back, and the count is 1-0. Montemurano hitting .571 with leading off the inning, which leads me to believe, given my deep math background, that she's led off 7 times and gotten 4 hits. The 1-0 pitch on its way. Fastball misses low and away, and the count now 2-0 on Montemurano.
You're the resident math expert of WCBN, isn't that right?
I guess so. We don't have enough people in stats majors in the WCBN sports department.
You should get just one.
2-0 the count. Goranson winds and delivers. It's a fastball in there for a called strike, outer half just below the letters, and the count goes to 2-1 on Montemurano. The outfield still playing deep. Really a no doubles look throughout this game for the Spartans outfield. Goranson looks in, gets the sign from Besson, winds and delivers. The 2-1 pitch is a breaking ball in there for a called strike. It dropped just below the letters yet again, and the count now 2-2 on Lindsay Montemurano. The third baseman for the Spartans, Shannon Thomas, shading in a couple steps. Now backing up with 2 strikes. Goranson winds. The 2-2 pitch, big swing and a miss. A foul tip that was just dropped by the catcher, Besson. Monty stays alive up there. Looked to me like she didn't make any contact, but home plate ump Mike Burwell instantly went up with both hands, signaling a foul ball.
Yeah, it's a lucky break there that he caught that. It was probably the sound or something else because it didn't look like a foul tip.
The 2-2 pitch, check swing. She didn't go, and the pitch just missed off the plate inside. Maybe too close to take, but Monty's got a good eye. She took it, and now the count moves full.
Trying to avoid her 7th strikeout of the year and definitely staying alive. A very interesting choice not to swing at that ball.
Full count, the payoff pitch on its way from Goranson. Swinging a tapper to the right of the mound. Goranson fields, throws over to first base, and gets Montemarana by a few steps. Good work fielding her position for Danny Goranson, and it's 1 up, 1 down for the Wolverines here in the bottom of the 2nd inning. That's going to bring up the catcher, Aiden Falk. The lefty has recently moved into the lineup more consistently, replacing Alex Subcheck, the freshman catcher. Falk hitting .279 on the season, 4 home runs, and 19 RBI. The first pitch from Goranson is swung on, tap toward the right side, fielded on a few hops by the second baseman, Destiny Luna. She throws over to first and gets the out. 1 pitch, 1 out for Aiden Falk, and now nobody on with 2 outs for Faith Canfield here in the bottom of the 2nd inning.
Aiden Falk, the sophomore, but getting some quality playing time when she's had it thus far this year. She's played in 33 games and started 28 of them.
Canfield, the freshman, the designated player today, hitting .291 on the year. The first pitch from Goranson she takes, and it's a fastball that misses just high for ball 1. The outfield finally taking a few steps in. The center fielder, Leah Forster, just behind the Michigan M in short center field. Goranson gets the sign, winds. The 1-0 pitch swung on and hit high on the back of the infield. Long calls for it, and Mackenzie Long makes the catch just on the edge of the grass on the left side of the infield, and that'll do it for the Wolverines in the bottom of the 2nd inning. We head to the top of the 3rd. The Wolverines still lead the Michigan State Spartans 2-0 in what thus far has been a very quick game here at Alumni Field.
Yeah, nobody here who is a little bit cold. People who have not yet put away their sweatshirts and windbreakers after a long and cold spring. They might not be out here for too long.
We'll be out here, though, for the duration of the game, so we just got to keep hoping for stuff like that. Just a reminder, you are listening to WCBN FM Ann Arbor's broadcast of Michigan softball. If you have any comments on our broadcast, you can leave them on our YouTube link, our YouTube video. We always monitor that. And also, if you have any questions, any remarks, you can tweet them at us or follow us on Twitter at WCBN Sports. If you're watching our video on YouTube, be sure to drop a like and subscribe. And we also have a page on Facebook, but I'm not going to tell you to go interact with that because you can only do so many things at once. You
don't think our listeners can multitask?
We don't want to overstress anybody. We don't want to make too many demands.
Yeah, it's not homework we're giving you here.
Exactly. Bottom of the 3rd, due up for the Spartans, the 3rd baseman, Shannon Thomas, followed by the catcher, Lindsey Betson, and the 2nd baseman, Destiny Luna. A weak part of the Spartans lineup if you look at the stats, but still one that Driesinger will have to navigate with care with a potent top half of the lineup due up afterward.
Yeah, particularly the end of that lineup, Destiny Luna, a bit strikeout prone. She's got 18 thus far over the course of the year on only 70 at-bats. That's not exactly a breakdown that you want to see if you're the Spartans. Definitely a breakdown you want to see if you're Driesinger.
It'll be Thomas leading things off for the Wolverines. The senior 3rd baseman hitting .206 on the season with 3 doubles, 2 home runs, and 14 RBIs. She's appeared in 40 games, started 35 for the Spartans. Thomas, the righty, with a wide stance. Not a ton of bend to her knees. An open stance, her left field pointing down toward 3rd. Her left foot, I should say. The first pitch on the way from Driesinger misses low for ball 1. The crowd has filled out a bit since the start of this game. It is a school night, so we will probably see some parents and children get out of here before the game comes to its completion, but can't think of many better ways to spend a Tuesday night. The 1-0 pitch, breaking ball misses off the plate, thigh high, outside for ball 2.
Well, I don't know, when you think about it, Morris, it's 6:30. It just hit 6:30, and we're already through 2 innings. We're in the top of the 3rd. We might have some kids who can stay out for the whole thing.
I'm not going to take for granted that this pace continues. The 2-0 on its way, breaking ball misses away, and the count moves to 3-0 on Shannon Thomas. Thomas has walked 11 times on the year, has also struck out 11 times. Thomas hitting .429, leading off the inning, which, again, sounds like a 3-for-7 average. The 3-0 pitch, fastball in there for a called strike at the belt on the outside corner. The infield shaded slightly in at the corners against Thomas. The infield shaded toward the side, a bit of a hole up the middle if Thomas can put the ball there. The 3-1 pitch on its way from Driesinga, swinging a pop-up fielded by Ramirez on the line at shortstop. For the out, a 3-1 swing from Thomas does not go as planned, and it's 1 up, 1 down for the Spartans here in the top of the 3rd inning. It's going to bring up the catcher, Lindsey Besson. She's appeared in 41 games for the Spartans this year, started 40. She's hitting .193 on the season with 2 home runs and 14 RBI.
Yeah, and the stat that you really see start to drop off towards the end of this Michigan State lineup is on-base percentage. Early on, you see in the 300s and the 400s, and then right when it starts with Shannon Thomas, it dips below 300. And then it becomes a problem when you have a talented pitcher like Driesinga, who can not allow you to turn over the lineup and move from the bottom right back to your leadoff hitter, who is Eccles.
Yeah, absolutely. Statistically, there is not much of a comparison between these lineups. But at the same time, this Michigan State team always plays Michigan tough. The first pitch on its way, fastball called strike on the outside corner, and the count is 0-1. Nobody on, 1 out for the Spartans at the plate here in the top of the 3rd inning. Michigan leading them 2-0. The windup, the pitch on its way, swung on and tapped foul down the 3rd base side. It actually appears to be Jordan Davis at the plate, so that is a late change to the lineup, perhaps a pinch hitter for the Spartans. Jordan Davis, the catcher, hitting .220 on the season, not much better than her counterpart in Lindsey Besson. She stands with a very wide stance, her right foot toward the back of the box, left foot toward the front. The 0-2 pitch, a breaking ball, hard breaker, misses outside, and the count moves to 1-2. It's not written on our lineup, and Stat Broadcast does have her as a pinch hitter right now. So a bit of lineup weirdness, but perhaps Jackie Joseph just wants a new look. The 1-2 pitch, breaking ball, misses low and away, and the count goes to 2-2 on Jordan Davis.
The Spartans are coming off a series win recently against Indiana, hoping to keep the momentum as they go to Northwestern this weekend.
Driesinga back onto the rubber winds. The 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball misses off the plate, low and in. Driesinga throwing considerably more pitches in this inning than she has in the previous 2. The Spartans with more patient approaches at the plate. The count now full on Jordan Davis. Nobody on and 1 out. The wind has died down. The 3-2 pitch on its way. A half swing chop over to Blanco at first base. She fields on 1 hop, takes herself to the bag, and records the 2nd out of the inning.
See, the problem right now that you're going to identify for Jackie Joseph is that nobody can make solid contact. They're making a little bit of contact, but mostly they're grounders, they're short. And again, it's an attempt at the small ball that Michigan was able to successfully execute last time they played against the Michigan State Spartans. But this time, the fielding for Michigan is just too consistent. You're not going to get anything by them.
First pitch to Destiny Luna is a fastball off the plate outside. Luna The second baseman hits from the left side, an open stance, stands tall toward the back of the box, and holds the bat with her hands about at eye level. A bit of an odd stance. Driesinger winds the 1-0 pitch. Big swing, but a tapper foul off the end of the bat, off home plate. And behind home plate, the count moves to 1-1 on Destiny Luna.
And you can see how they've supported their pitcher in terms of the way the infield is positioned. It's pretty much a perfect square in the infield. And now the pitcher's job is to make sure that it stays directly in front of her. If it gets anything by her, that gap is really vulnerable.
The 1-1 pitch, breaking ball swung on and tapped foul down the first baseline. Luna out in front and now behind in the count. 1-2. Michigan's outfield shaded slightly in on Luna. Luna with a .295 on base percentage on the season, hitting .097 with 2 outs. My math brain not working so well. I can't give you the fraction on that one. The 1-2 pitch on its way, swing and a tapper foul back to the screen. Luna undercut a high fastball from Driesinger and just got a piece.
Driesinger really getting ahead in most of the counts thus far. You haven't seen her with much more than two balls on any batter, and she's about to make the turn of this lineup.
Couple of 3-ball counts in this inning, but that's the only sign. The 1-2 pitch is grounded over to Romero at short. She takes one step to her right, fields and throws to first, and it's 9 up, 9 down for the Michigan State Spartans to start this game. We head to the bottom of the third, Michigan holding on to a 2-0 lead over Michigan State here on WCBN FM Ann Arbor's broadcast of Michigan softball. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Now starting with Abby Ramirez, not necessarily a weak spot in any way, shape, or form for the Michigan Wolverines lineup. It's going to be up to Goranson to see if she can hold this Michigan Wolverines lineup and maybe, with some offensive production in the late innings, they can surmount this 2-run lead. But without anything in the hit column for the Spartans, it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. And Driesinger has started the game strong. Maybe the second time through the lineup, they'll have her timed a bit better. Megan Betts will almost certainly be available out of the bullpen if necessary, but Driesinger has looked stellar so far. No strikeouts, so not your typical sign of dominance, but the scoreboard right now speaks for itself for Sarah Driesinger. Yeah, Ramirez at the bottom of the lineup, hitting .337 on the season, a .465 on base percentage. She's hitting .650 when leading off innings this year. Really functions as that second leadoff hitter in Carol Hutchins' lineup. Kind of the same way National League managers will hit their pitchers 8th in the lineup so that that turnover of the lineup is just a bit expedited. Not that, Faith Canfield is comparable to a pitcher in her hitting ability, but having that second leadoff at the bottom of the lineup can lead to good things, especially with powerful hitters like Romero and Lawrence hitting behind in the order.
Ramirez was definitely an asset last year. Didn't start she started all 68 games, but only 59 of them at shortstop. She played a little bit of second base and then was a consistent offensive weapon when it came to WCWS play, going 8 for 16.
Ramirez will lead off. She is a slap hitter from the left side of the box. Goranson orienting her infield, now steps on the rubber and is ready to go. She gets her sign, winds, and delivers. The first pitch swung on and tapped back to the mound. Goranson fields, throws over to first, and gets Abby Ramirez by a couple steps. One pitch, one swing, one out for the Wolverines here in the bottom of the third, and that brings up Sierra Lawrence. The outfield, who was shaded in, will all step right back toward the warning track. Lawrence grounded out to Mackenzie Long at shortstop. There's an oxymoron if I've ever heard one. The first pitch on its way from Goranson. Squares the bunt, pulls back. The pitch misses low for ball 1.
Sierra Lawrence and Sierra Romero, in addition to Kelsey Susala and the pitcher Driesinger, all seniors. You got to wonder what this program is going to look like without those 4 stars.
The 1-0 pitch on its way from Goranson, swung on and clobbered high. Deep into left, that one toward the track and caught. Ebony Eccles had her back up against the wall, reached up and plucked that one out of the sky. Lawrence with a near dinger but instead just a long second out to the inning.
With about, I don't know, a little bit more oomph, and that's a technical term, a little bit more oomph. Or if Eccles had been even the slightest bit out of position, that could have been a homer.
That brings up Sierra Romero. She grounded out to Gorens in her last plate appearance. The first pitch she sees is a fastball on the inner half, in there for a called strike one, thigh high. Romero's average plummeted to 476 with that first inning out.
Oh, plummeted. It's terrible.
It's below her standards. Goranson looks in, gets the sign, winds and delivers. The 1-0 pitch, the 0-1 pitch is a breaking ball. Misses off the plate inside. The count even at 1-1. Brett has an interesting anecdote about Romero that maybe you can share between innings.
Sure.
Goranson looks in, gets the sign from her catcher, Davis, I presume. The 1-1 pitch is swung on him, knocked high, foul down the left field line, and out of play. That one made it to the height level of the lights. Not a ton of distance on it, and the count now 1-2 on Sierra Romero.
Had a lot of curve on it. I don't know about distance, but you could definitely tell what kind of pitch that was from Goranson by how much that was spinning.
Well, with finals coming around, everybody likes to see that kind of curve.
Hey.
The 1-2 pitch on its way from Goranson, swung on and hit high, foul, out of play toward the top of the bleachers. It will miss the bleachers and bounce over toward the parking lot. The count remains 1-2 as Romero just getting slightly under these offerings from Goranson.
I think slightly under is a generous description. She's getting way under these.
It's all relative, Brett. 1-2, the count remains. Goranson gets the sign, winds and delivers. Romero swings, lines it fair down the left field line. That one's headed toward the corner. Eccles cuts it off, fires it in toward second base, but Romero cruises in with a 2-out double. Romero able to square that pitch up, turn on it, and lace it down that left field line. The third baseman, Thomas, had no chance to react.
And I love that as soon as she made contact, just based on how the sound and where it was going, you saw Hutch's arms start moving, saying extra bases, extra bases.
That brings up Kelly Christner, reached with an infield single in her last plate appearance. Goranson looks in, gets the sign, winds, and delivers. The breaking ball in there about belt high for a called strike. And the catcher, presumably Davis, yes, it is Davis, will go out and talk to her pitcher Goranson before heading back behind home plate. Just exchanged a couple words, maybe the signal for the next pitch, as Romero on second base might be able to steal some signs. Christner, the lefty, awaiting the 1-0 pitch. Goranson winds and delivers. Fastball misses in the dirt. Big secondary lead from Romero, but Davis got down and blocked that well.
Yeah, very low, and you can see that Sierra Romero was definitely jonesing. She's looking at third.
Count now 1-1 on Kelly Christner. Goranson looks in, gets the sign from Davis, winds and delivers. Big swing and a tapper foul behind home plate. The count moves to 1-2. Goranson hasn't issued any free passes to this Michigan lineup today, and that kind of attacking mentality is what she is going to need if she's going to continue giving her team at least a chance in this game against the Wolverines.
But you see a totally different strategy, much more speed than she was using against Lawrence.
1-2 the count. Goranson winds, delivers. Breaking ball swung on and crushed toward the right center field gap. That one's going to one-hop up against the wall. Romero will score. Christner slides into second base with a 2-out RBI double. Does a dab for the dugout. And the rally nets Michigan a run here in the bottom of the third inning. They now lead 3-0.
A lot of speed there from Kelly Christner, and it hit perfectly in the gap between the center fielder and the right fielder. They're way back in their defense. They've been that way for all three innings thus far, and rightly so. With a high-powered Michigan offense, you got to leave a lot of room in front of you, but it doesn't always do the job. It doesn't always do the trick.
That brings up Kelsey Susala, hit a home run her last at-bat. The first pitch she sees runs up and in, and it hits her on the elbow. A hit by pitch, and that's probably a preferred outcome for Danny Goranson, given how the last at-bat ended up. It's chilly here at the ballpark, but Seeing Susala step back into that lefty batter's box must have inspired a cold feeling in the pit of her stomach.
Absolutely. You definitely don't want to pitch to Kelsey Susala at this point. Much more pleasant, at least in Gorenson's mind, to pitch to Tara Blanca, who struck out looking and is the only strikeout recorded in this game last time she faced her in the first inning.
Goranson looks in, readies and delivers to Tara Blanco. Big swing and a pop-up foul. That one's going to bounce off the Donald R. Shepard softball center in the air. A broken glass sound effect plays over the field speakers, but that building a little sturdier than the sound effects would lead you to believe.
A little bit close to the guy who's manning the Carvel ice cream station out there. He had to duck.
0-1 the count now on Blanco. 2 on, 2 out for the Wolverines here in the bottom of the third. The pitch on its way. Fastball misses off the plate inside. Davis tried to frame it, couldn't do so, and the count moves to 1-1.
Yeah, I was going to say that was a great job attempting to frame, given how far off of the plate it was.
Looked good from up here, but you don't have the best vantage point.
No.
Goranson winds the 1-1 pitch. Fastball, that one a called strike on the inside corner. Looked to be a similar location to the last pitch, maybe a bit higher. And now Blanco behind in the count 1-2. Blanco hitting .456 with runners on this year. All of her stats are impressive, and she's usually a very good two-strike hitter. Goranson gets the sign, winds the 1-2 pitch, swing, and a hot shot grabbed by Luna at second on the ground. Fires over to first and retires Tara Blanco. A hard-hit ball off the bat of the Michigan sophomore first baseman, but can't squirt it through the infield, so Michigan will settle for 1 run in the bottom of the third. We head to the top of the fourth. Michigan leads 3-0 over the Michigan State Spartans. So I guess now is the time, Brett, for you to share your story about Sierra Romero and the Michigan softball team. You had a final with them recently?
Yeah, if you could call it that. It was a final for our Cultures of Basketball. I'll give it an on-air shout-out to Professor Iago Colas, a Cultures of Basketball final that happened just across the way here last night in Chrysler Arena. A 3v3 basketball tournament, mostly a lot of seniors and a lot of athletes, including a lot of the girls here on the softball team, including the star Sierra Romero. And you know what? They're not basketball players, and I don't think any of them were on the winning team last night. But, man, they're athletic and they're competitive. So it was a lot of fun getting to know a few of them and watching them, kind of just toy around on the hardwood last night, especially against some of the freshmen on the basketball team, including Mo Wagner and Brent Hibbets, who were really just having fun. And, the professor himself played. I, myself, went 2 for 4 from the floor. Much better than my IM basketball stats with WCBN.
Oh, but who were you guarding, Brett?
I was guarding former Fat Five player Jimmy King. I played some lockdown defense. He was using it as a clinic for his son Malcolm, who played. But, when I tell this story, he was trying his absolute hardest. And I was just a defensive monster, I think.
Ebony Eccles leading things off for the Spartans, still being held scoreless here in the top of the fourth inning. Eccles grounded out to Driesinga in her last plate appearance. The infield shaded in on the speedster Eccles. Driesinga winds, the first pitch on its way. Fastball on the outside corner at the knees for a called strike 1. Good stuff there from Driesinga, who's been getting ahead of hitters all day. Her first time through the lineup only went to 2 3-ball counts against this Spartans lineup. Driesinga back on the rubber, gets the sign from Falk and delivers. Breaking ball swung on and chopped foul down the third base line. Krishna will range over to pick it up and toss it back to the infield.
Driesinga looking for her 4th 3-up, 3-down of the game, and maybe a strikeout because, as you mentioned earlier, thus far, none, mostly just little grounders and pop-ups.
Driesinga gets the sign from Falk. The 0-2 pitch. Breaking ball misses off the plate low and away. The count goes to 1-2.
Yeah, that was a wish of a pitch. I don't think she even thought that was going to be called for a strike. She was trying to get the batter Eccles to chase.
Yeah, and that is a very good two-strike pitch. If nothing else, it changes the eye levels. The 1-2 pitch now on its way. Breaking ball starts low, stays low, and the count moves to 2-2. The outfield shading Eccles toward the opposite field. At least Sierra Lawrence is about 8 or 9 steps out of her usual center field position toward left center field. The left fielder Christner shaded toward the line. Driesinger winds the 2-2 pitch. On tapped on 2 hops over to short. Long throw for Ramirez, but she retires Eccles at first base by a step. A routine ground out for Eccles starts the 4th for the Michigan State Spartans.
Eccles really turned and burned there in terms of making it a little bit of a play there for Blanco to reach and make sure that she got that out. And if you believe it, that grounder to shortstop was the longest hit, hardest hit ball we've seen from the Spartans offense thus far.
Yeah, we haven't even seen any hard hit foul balls. That brings up Mackenzie Long. First pitch she sees is a breaking ball that misses low for ball 1. Long had a bunt ground out to Driesinger back in the first inning. She's hitting .290 on the season. 3 home runs, 22 RBI. Driesinger rubs some dirt behind the circle, now steps back onto the rubber. The 1-0 pitch on its way, swinging a line drive off the glove of Abby Ramirez and into left field. The first base runner of the day for the Michigan State Spartans comes here with 1 out in the top of the 4th. It was a tough play there for Abby Ramirez, a hot shot, more of a reaction than a calculated dive, and in the end, just a little too tough to handle. That brings up Cassidy Kajawa. She grounded out to first base in her last plate appearance. She's 0 for 1 on the day, has a .310 average on the season. The first pitch she sees, big swing and a miss on a fastball up in the zone.
Yeah, you can tell that Driesinger does not like the fact that she gave up her first base runner. She wants to shut this inning down.
I'll tell you, Jeremy, the last 2 games we've called for the baseball game, a no-hitter through 4 innings for Evan Hill, and now we see a perfecto through 3. The 0-1 pitch, a fastball called strike at the knees on the outside corner, and the count moves to 0-2.
I'm just a little offended you just called me Jeremy.
Oh, man. I'm sorry, Brett. I've been sitting here and doing games with Jeremy for far too long.
Yeah, no offense to Jeremy Parks, but I am not him.
Thank goodness. 0-2 the count on Kajawa. Driesinger winds, delivers. It's swung on and tapped foul. Montemarano Fields picks it up and tosses it back to Driesinger on the rubber, and we'll reset here with an 0-2 count.
I'm sure Mr. Parks will be honored to hear that you missed him, though. So much so that you defaulted.
We should be back at it this weekend, Jeremy and I, but hopefully you can also join for some broadcasts this weekend if you're not too busy cramming for finals.
Yeah.
We'll see. The 0-2 pitch on its way, swinging a foul ball off the window of the press box and back into the bleachers. Kajawa golfed that one off of her shoes tops and kept the at-bat alive.
Yeah, it was like a pitching wedge right over the net, and just enough to hit the press box and kind of bounce down into the stands.
The infield not really at double play depth. Ramirez and Romero shaded wide. The 0-2 pitch swung on and belted high, deep, and foul down the left field line. That one definitely had home run distance, but Kajawa could not straighten it out.
Definitely now that's the hardest hit ball we've seen today. Went up right near the end of the indoor track building, and could have been to way left field if she got a little bit more behind it.
Might even hit the scoreboard if she had straightened it out in fair territory. The 0-2 pitch yet again swung on and tapped. Tough hop gets by Blanco and goes into right field. That will probably be credited as an error on Tara Blanco. It was a very tough play. Unfortunately, for Blanco, it was tough to handle. It's ruled a hit on the scoreboard, so there really wasn't much Blanco could have done with that other than maybe block it with her face, which is a little too much to ask.
Yeah, that would be a lot to ask. I mean, that was just kind of a difficult hop to play if you're at first base. I don't think Hutch or anybody else could necessarily fault her for that performance. But a chance here with a runner in scoring position for the Spartans to make this game a little bit more competitive.
We've got a pinch runner over at first base. It is Kelly Zacharson, the freshman outfielder for the Spartans. But yeah, when you're only standing 60 feet away or so from home plate and the ball gets hit to you with some juice on it, it's not easy to make any sort of play on it, either advancing to cut off the hop or backing up to make it a little easier on yourself. You just got to work with what you have. And unfortunately for Blanco, it took a nasty bounce.
I'm a little surprised, though, that head coach Jackie Joseph over there didn't ask her runner to move a little bit more, just based on how hard hit that ball was over to Susala, and the throw was not necessarily in time.
First pitch to Sarah Gutnick. The breaking ball misses off the plate inside for ball one. Gutnick grounded out to Romero in her last at-bat. Gutnick hitting .383 on the season, 3 home runs and 26 RBI. The Spartans with runners on first and second and 1 out here in the top of the fourth, trailing by 3-1. 3 runs. The 1-0 pitch is swung on, hit on a few hops over to third. Ramirez tosses over to first for the force. The relay over to first. Not in time, sorry. Ramirez tossed over to third base where Montemurano was covering for the force out. Tried to throw over to first. Didn't get Gutnick, who wasn't moving very quickly down the line. But now there are 2 outs and 2 on for the Spartans. Good awareness there for Ramirez. Moving to her right from the shortstop position. Would have been a very tough play at either second or first. And instead got the easy out.
A little bit of a hit parade now, 3 singles in a row.
Well, that'll go down as a fielder's choice, not a single. But yeah, the Spartans putting the ball in play. The first pitch to Forster. Fastball misses low for ball 1. Forster popped out right back to Driesinger, her first plate appearance of the day. She's hitting .378 on the season, .267 with runners on. 1-0 the count. Driesinger winds and delivers. Fastball, that one catches the plate thigh high for a called strike 1. The count even at 1-1.
This outfield a little bit further in than we've seen earlier on in the game. They're not at the warning track. They're, I would say, maybe like 15 steps in.
That sounds about right. They're not as threatened by this Michigan State lineup and are looking to cut down a runner at home if need be. The 1-1 pitch, breaking ball, just misses off the plate inside. The crowd wanted the call, as did a couple Michigan infielders, but they're not going to get it. The count moves to 2-1.
Yeah, you even saw Christner move a little bit because she thought that it was going to be either fouled off in her direction, if anything, or she thought it was going to be a strikeout.
Forster, the lefty, stands toward the back of the box. The 2-1 pitch swung on and tapped over to first. Takes a high hop and gets by Blanco, but it's a foul ball. Went foul just before the bag. Blanco's had a rough go of it over at the not-so-hot corner, but that's just a tough-to-handle strike, and the count moves to 2-2.
It might become the hot corner, I think, or maybe it's just the hot corner temporarily for today. But she's been getting a lot of action.
The count 2-2. 2 outs here in the top of the fourth inning with 2 on for the Spartans. The pitch on its way from Driesinger. The breaking ball misses low and away, and the count moves full.
It's about the most pressure that we've seen thus far in the game for Driesinger. Let's see if she can work out of it.
The count is full. The runners will be taking off on the pitch. Here with 3-2, the count with 2 outs. Driesinger winds. The pitch on its way. Swing and a tapper over to Blanco. Fields on the short hop. Runs over and steps on the bag just in time to get Forster, who was booking it down the first base line. A ground out to first base, unassisted play for Blanco, and Driesinger works her way out of the first jam she's faced today. We head to the bottom of the fourth. Michigan leading the Spartans 3-0 here on WCBN FM Ann Arbor's broadcast of Michigan softball. Thank you for tuning in.
Great job there by the Michigan team to have 2 hits and a fielder's choice and runners in scoring position for the very first time. Some hard hit balls, using a lot of the gaps and maintaining their lead and making sure that the Michigan State Spartans stay at 0 as the alumni band moves into Carry On My Wayward Son by Kansas.
I guess it doesn't really fit any sort of theme, but the fans, I'm sure, will enjoy it. I enjoy hearing it right now. New pitcher in the circle right now for the Spartans. is Christina Zalewski. She's a sophomore with a 3.43 ERA on the season. The workhorse of the Michigan State Spartans staff. She has thrown 155 innings this year, a 3.43 ERA, 10-12 win-loss record, 61 walks, and 161 strikeouts on the season. So Michigan will have to adjust to a new look. Zalewski, also a righty, so at least Michigan doesn't have to face pitches coming from the opposite end. Two up for the Wolverines in this inning will be Lindsay Montemurano, followed by Aiden Falk and Faith Canfield.
Zalewski is in 10th place on Michigan State's career strikeout list with 309 over the course of her career, and her 161 strikeouts ranks 7th in a single season in the record book up in East Lansing.
So Monty will lead things off for the Wolverines, grounded out to the pitcher, not the pitcher Zalewski, to the pitcher Goranson in her last plate appearance. Michigan State head coach Jackie Joseph recognized the trouble that Goranson was getting herself into, especially the second time through the lineup, and went with her best option to try to hold things close for her lineup to rally in the remaining innings.
Yeah, these were the same three batters that Goranson faced in the second inning. There were 3 up and 3 down. The only time that there were 3 up and 3 down for the Wolverines thus far today.
First pitch on its way, fastball in there for a called strike just below the letters. Maybe a bit high in the zone, but when you are shorter of stature, as Montemurano is, sometimes you have to deal with a bit of an expanded strike zone, at least relative to your body. The 0-1 pitch on its way from Zalewski. Breaking ball. That one starts high and stays high. It's something I definitely had to deal with, as I was a bit of a late bloomer as far as height goes.
Back when you played a lot of softball as a kid?
Back when I played Little League Baseball. I'd say they're at least comparable. 1-1 the count. Nobody on, nobody out here in the bottom of the fourth. Zalewski gets the sign, winds, and delivers. Fastball misses low. The count now 2-1. And I think Zalewski's got a bit more zip on her pitches here than Goranson did.
We got to wonder if that's just because this is her first batter that she's facing and she's trying to establish herself and she's a little bit more rested, or if this is something that she can sustain over the course of the next ostensibly 3 innings.
The 2-1 pitch on its way. Swinging a tapper back down the third base line. Fielded, thrown over to first base by Shannon Thomas, and she gets Montemurano by a step. That pitch got in on Monty's hands, couldn't really turn on it and barrel it up. It was all she could do to just make contact.
A very slow roller there and a difficult ball to play for Thomas. She really had to put some zip on that ball in order to get over to first base. But the first out is made, and Montemurano sees her second ground out of the night.
That'll bring up Aiden Falk. First pitch from Zalewski is a breaking ball in there for a called strike at the belt. Falk grounded out to second in her first plate appearance back in the second inning. Falk hitting now 276 on the year. Zalewski gets the sign from her catcher, Jordan Davis. Winds slowly and delivers. The 0-1 pitch is grounded off the glove of Gutnick, fielded by the second baseman, Luna. Glove flip to first, and they got Falk by just a hair. Great awareness there from Luna to back up her first baseman, Gutnick. No time to go with the bare hand flip. Flipped it with the glove instead, and Falk retired.
Yeah, really difficult play there for Gutnick, but great job backing her up on the part of Luna. Otherwise, that was an easy single that shouldn't have been.
That brings up Faith Canfield. The first pitch on its way from Zalewski. Canfield swings and taps it down the first base line. That one foul, fielded by Gutnick, but there's no play to be made. It'll just be strike one. Canfield popped out to shallow center, fielded by the shortstop Long in her first plate appearance. She's now hitting 286 on the year, hitting 333 with 2 outs. Zalewski gets the sign, winds and delivers. The 0-1 pitch, big swing and a miss from Canfield as the fastball was low and out of the zone, but Canfield chased and is now behind in the count 0-2. Zalewski with a deliberate, almost hypnotic motion as she delivers to the plate.
Yeah, I like that way of describing it. Hypnotic is good.
Certainly has lulled the hitters into some bad swings. The 0-2 pitch, fastball misses off the plate inside, and the count moves to 1-2.
Canfield, the only batter on Michigan's lineup who has not seen a single walk in her 86 at-bats thus far. She likes to put it in play.
1-2 the count. Zalewski winds and delivers. Big swing and a miss. Canfield down on strikes. That one out of the zone, low and away, but she was in plate protection mode. And that will do it for the Wolverines in the bottom of the fourth. They go down 1-2-3 as we head into the top of the fifth. Michigan still holding on to a 3-0 lead, just like the one they had over the Spartans back in East Lansing last Wednesday as we head into the top of the fifth inning.
Very similar, but as I said at the beginning of the game, different in terms of how they got there. When they played against Michigan State 6 days ago, it was small ball. It was a fielder's choice, and it was an error, and it was a wild pitch. It was little defensive mistakes on the part of the Spartans. This time around, it was that home run that we saw in the first inning by Susala and a wonderful pair of doubles from Romero and Christner. Christner, who is, by the way, 2 for 2 on the day. So I guess big ball is the opposite of small ball.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, I mean, I've never heard anybody say that before, but maybe I just coined a phrase. But a similar lead, but different in how they got there for the Wolverines.
We're going into the top of the fifth here, and since you mentioned Faith Canfield's lack of walks this season, I figured I'd ask a trivia question to our listeners that relates to that. And the trivia question is a simple one, but maybe a difficult one. It is this: who is the all-time leader in walks for the University of Michigan softball team? I'm not sure if the record book has been updated, but it is not Sierra Romero. According to this edition, she will eventually become the all-time leader if she is not already, but I guess it is, other than Sierra Romero, who has the most walks in the history of Michigan softball. You can respond to the trivia question on our YouTube channel or reply to us on Twitter at WCBN Sports. We will let you know the answer in the top of the sixth inning.
And hey, try not to Google it.
Yeah, don't look it up.
We know that you're tempted. We know how this works, but we'll just be disappointed.
It'll be Lexi White leading things off for the Spartans. White grounded out to Montemurano, her last plate appearance. The first pitch on its way from Driesinger, an off-speed pitch catches the outside corner for a called strike one. White hitting .292 on the season, .333 when leading off innings. Behind her in the lineup are Shannon Thomas and Jordan Davis. Infield and outfield shaded straight away against the righty. White awaits the 0-1 pitch. Fastball called strike on the inner half. About belt level, and the count moves to 0-2 on Lexi White. White stands with her weight evenly distributed, her feet wide apart in the righty batter's box toward the front half of the batter's box. Rests the bat on her shoulder. The 0-2 pitch on its way, swinging a tapper toward third, fielded by Montemurano. She fires it over to Blanco, and it's 1 up, 1 down for the Spartans here in the top of the fifth inning.
Same play as last time, a grounder out to third for Lexi White, and she was the only thing that was standing between the pitcher Driesinger and the next part of the Spartans lineup, which, as I've said before, is a little bit vulnerable. They were 3 up and 3 down, Thomas, Davis, and Luna in the third inning.
The first pitch to Shannon Thomas, a fastball misses off the plate outside for ball one. Thomas popped out to the shortstop Ramirez, her last plate appearance. She's hitting .204 on the season. Nobody on and 1 out for the Spartans here in the top of the fifth inning. Driesinger gets the sign, the 1-0 pitch, swinging a foul back to the screen off the bat of Thomas. The pitch in on her hands. She could not get the barrel around, and the count moves to 1-1. The Michigan infield at about normal depth. Not too far back, but in enough to respect the speed of Shannon Thomas. Driesinger winds the 1-1 pitch. Fastball misses off the plate outside, and the count moves to 2-1. Thomas worked the count to 3-1 in her first plate appearance before popping out to Ramirez at short. she and Lindsey Besson, Jordan Davis, the only two 3-ball counts Driesinger has been in today. The 2-1 pitch swung on and tapped on one hop back to the backstop. A foul ball makes the count 2-2.
A big cut there for Thomas, and she didn't even realize how far ahead she was of that ball until it bounced behind her into the fence.
2-2 now the count on the righty Shannon Thomas. Driesinger winds and delivers. Breaking ball line down the right field line. That's when it dropped for a base hit. Susala ranges over to field. It fires it back into the infield, and Thomas will hold at first base with a 1-out single.
Thomas, who's batting .206 on the year and has an on-base percentage of .297, hoping to get a little bit of production here. That was a long single into right field, and a good fielding job by Susala getting it in quickly. If it had gone anywhere near the corner and gotten a couple more yards, that was a double.
That brings up Jordan Davis. Grounded out in her last plate appearance. The first pitch, a fastball at the knees on the inner half for a called strike 1. Davis hitting .216 now on the year, hitting .200 with runners on as the wind has picked up behind us. We are down the right field line as we are calling this game. The wind really gusting all over the place. 0-1 the count. The pitch is bunted foul as Davis dropped the bat almost in shocked fashion as she couldn't believe how poorly she put that one down.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a lazy bunt, I'll say. And she barely even took a step down the first base path because she knew that it wasn't going anywhere.
So 0-2 the count on Jordan Davis. Down at first base is Shannon Thomas. Driesinger winds, delivers, and the 0-2 pitch is lined off the screen in front of the Michigan dugout and into right field. The count remains 0-2 as Davis keeps the at-bat alive.
Not sure what exactly Driesinger is doing thus far against these batters here in the 5th, but whatever it is, everybody has been getting ahead of these pitches. Nobody's been hitting the sweet spot.
The 0-2 pitch on its way, swinging a grounder over to third, under the glove of Montemarano and into left field. Another tough hop. That one just a tough play for Monty over at third base. She's a bit irritated with that, taps her chest and a my bad signal. Slaps hands with Abby Ramirez, and the Wolverines look to regroup as now they face 2 runners on with 1 out and Destiny Luna at the plate.
A similar story to what we saw last inning with 2 singles. That time it was from Mackenzie Long and Cassidy Kujawa. This time from Shannon Thomas and Jordan Davis, who is a sophomore who added a little bit of depth last year as a freshman. Only started 7 times and had a little bit of experience as the designated player, but obviously playing a little bit more of a role this year, catching this game. Started with Cornson, now with Zalewski.
Yeah, if nothing else, she offers a change of pace from Lindsey Besson, who has started the vast majority of games for this Spartans squad. Luna at the plate, grounded out to Romero, her last plate appearance. For the second straight innings, the Spartans have 2 runners on with 1 out, still trailing the Wolverines 3-0 here in the top of the 5th inning. The first pitch from Driesinger, fastball in there for a called strike on the outer half.
And that ball was dropped by Falk, the catcher, and that kind of control and just kind of blocking the ball, making sure that it stays in front of you, is going to be very common when you got 2 runners on.
Falk gets the sign from the dugout, relays it now to Driesinger. The 1-0-1 pitch is slapped into left field. Christner comes on and makes a basket catch in shallow left center field. That ball almost got away from Christner. It had a lot of spin on it, but the left fielder was an All-American for a reason, makes the play.
Yeah, it was definitely shallow and closer, I would say, to center left than it was to left. A lot of speed. She had to put her motor on to get there, but the second out is retired, and I'm sure her pitcher thanks her.
First pitch to Ebony Eccles, the top of the Michigan State lineup, misses low for ball 1. Eccles 0 for 2 today, grounded out to Driesinger and grounded out to Ramirez at short in her last plate appearance. Still hitting .386 on the year, .431 with runners on, and 4:29 with 2 outs. The Spartans could desperately use a 2-out knock right here. Driesinger winds. The pitch is tapped slowly over to short, fielded on 2 hops by Ramirez. Fires across the diamond to first and retires Ebony Eccles by a step. Good hands there at short from Abby Ramirez. And the Spartans come up empty yet again in the top of the 5th. We head to the bottom of the 5th. Michigan still leads 3-0 here on WCBN FM Ann Arbor's broadcast of Michigan softball. We thank those of you who have tuned in and who have stuck around. Speaking of sticking around, the crowd still here in the same density that they were when this game began. This game, the opening pitch was at about 6:05, maybe closer to 6:10. Now we're at 7:15 p.m. and things have moved rather quickly.
Yeah, I would say I'm impressed by how many have stuck around thus far, and I'm also impressed by the alumni band over there. They're holding their own.
Yeah, I'll tell you, especially playing brass instruments in the cold.
In this weather, that can't
easy.
be fun.
Jeremy and I also called the game here at Alumni. You know, back when weather was a little more miserable, and they were still out here toughing it out and doing their thing. These people have tough lips. Zalewski still out in the circle for the Spartans, mowed down the hitter she faced last inning. The Wolverines went 1-2-3 with Montemarano, Falk, and Canfield. Ramirez looking to flip the script a little bit here in the bottom of the 5th inning. I
tell you what, you can tell on the other side of the game with Driesinger, the fact that she's 15-0 this year. You can tell that it's just absolutely dominant pitching and working out of jam, something that the Michigan State Spartans have struggled with. They struggled with it in the 1st and then the 3rd, and maybe it's an odd-numbered innings thing. Maybe we'll see another bit of production here for the Michigan Wolverines.
Zalewski gets the sign from Davis, slowly winds and delivers. And the first pitch, a fastball at the knees on the inside half for a called strike 1. Ramirez still hitting .333 on the season. Her average when leading off down from 650 to 619 after recording an out leading off back in the 3rd inning.
You get so picky.
The 0-1 pitch on its way. Breaking ball misses off the plate inside, and the count moves to 1-1 on Abby Ramirez.
You know you're talking about a good team when you start saying things like down to 467 earlier and down to 619.
Well, unless we're talking ERA.
True.
Zalewski gets the sign. Winds the 1-1 pitch on its way. Fastball, that one's in there just below the belt for a called strike 2. Ramirez forced to go into plate protection mode here with nobody on and nobody out. The count 1-2 in the bottom of the 5th inning.
Showing bunt early on in this next pitch.
Zalewski winds the 1-2 on its way. Check swing. She did not go around, and the pitch missed low. The count now 2-2. And that's something that these softball players will do from time to time in a 2-strike count. They'll hold the bat out in front of them to maybe just try to barrel up the ball a little better.
She's also crowding the plate a little bit more than she was early on in this at-bat.
The 2-2 pitch on its way from Zalewski. Breaking ball swung on and tapped foul over in front of the Michigan State dugout. Really a half-hearted hack, as she would have gone too far and fortunately got a piece of it. The count remains 2-2. Over at Ray Fisher Stadium, the baseball team perhaps having their practice come to an end. The lights are on over there as well. Zalewski looks in, winds the 2-2 pitch, swinging a tapper right back to the mound. Zalewski fields, fires it over to Gutnecht for the first out of the inning.
A similar story to what happened for Ramirez there in the 3rd inning, but no different in terms of how much hustle she showed and how hard she ran down the first base line. That's just how Hutch has these girls conditioned. Even if it's a slow hopper that any old pitcher can field, you're burning down the first base line.
That brings up Sierra Lawrence. She takes the first pitch, a breaking ball low in the dirt for ball 1. This Michigan lineup threw 4 1/3 innings, has only recorded 4 hits, and they have come from Sierra Romero, Kelly Christner, and Kelsey Susella. Fortunately, they strung them together for runs. The 1-0 pitch now on its way from Zalewski. Fastball off the plate away. The count now 2-0, and the catcher, Jordan Davis, out to have a couple words with their pitcher.
Maybe settling her down a little bit. Maybe just trying some new signals. You never know. This late in the game, you kind of want to shake things up. Make sure your pitcher doesn't get too tired or too complacent.
2-0 the count. Zalewski gets the sign, rears back, lifts up her arms, winds, and delivers the 2-0 pitch. Breaking ball misses low, and the count moves to 3-0. I got to say, there's some pretty belligerent fans out here, more than I'm used to seeing at these softball games.
I don't know if belligerent's the right word. Enthused, I like better.
Well, individual fans yelling out the name of the pitcher, Zalewski. The 3-0 pitch on its way. Fastball misses high for ball 4, and Lawrence is down to first base with a 1-out walk. Could be a good way to kickstart a Michigan rally as Lawrence, a speed demon on the base paths, 15 stolen bases in 15 attempts this year. Davis, the backup catcher for the Spartans, hasn't been tested yet today. We might see this here in the bottom of the 5th.
Only going to be the 62nd walk given up this season by Christina Zalewski in 156 innings pitched.
That is impressive. First pitch on its way to Sierra Romero. Breaking ball in there on the outer half for a called strike 1.
That pitch had a lot of movement on it. It started in the top right corner and then dove down and left. I can't blame Sierra Romero for being a little bit confused with that trajectory.
0-1 the count. Zalewski shakes off a sign. Now winds and delivers. The 0-1 pitch. Breaking ball misses low and away. The count even at 1-1. And one hazard of Zalewski's delivery, it's got to be tough to time for Sierra Lawrence when stealing bases because she can't take off until that ball is out of her hand.
Yeah, you can tell based on the small lead she's been taking that, if any lead at all.
The 1-0 cutting a foul back to the screen. Lawrence was taking off on the pitch, but will have to retreat on the foul ball. The count moves to 1-2. Coach Carol Hutchins never afraid to send runners in situations like these.
Well, it was a very faint foul. It could have been a wild pitch, so good job on Lawrence running it out.
1-2 the count. Zalewski gets her sign, winds, and delivers. Swinging a foul back to the screen. Romero having to fight that one off as it got in on her hands. Romero 1 for 2 on today's game. Hit a double down the left field line in her last plate appearance. Scored on an RBI Kelly Christner double. Christner's double went into the right center field gap.
And you can tell on these foul balls exactly what you're saying. It's difficult to time with Zalewski's windup.
Zalewski winds again. The 1-2 pitch swung on, ripped through the hole on the left side. It's a base hit. Lawrence got a very good jump, but will stop at second base as the ball was hit toward the left side. Looked like Shannon Thomas got caught shifting over toward her right as that one just shot by her into left field for a 1-out base hit. Michigan, maybe a rally cooking here with Kelly Christner up to the plate.
One of just 5 hits thus far today for the Michigan Wolverines, but 3 runs that came from it. Again, it started with Christner in the first inning, and that single that was eventually driven home by Kelsey Susella.
And I think that home run she hit might still be flying. Took a look. I can't see it, but it might have just vanished into the atmosphere. Christner 2 for 2 today with a single and a double. Zalewski winds. The first pitch is swung on and lined foul down the right field line. First base coach Bonnie Thole probably saw her life flash before her eyes on that one.
Yeah, she wasn't exactly comfortable with how far or how close that ball came, and it went foul just in front of first base. If it had stayed fair just a second or two longer, might have been down into the corner.
Gutnick, the first baseman, hugging the line. The outfield shading Christner to pull and shading her toward the warning track. Zalewski winds the 0-1 pitch. Breaking ball just missed low. Dropped out of the zone, and the count moves to 1-1. Christner started the season pretty cold for the Wolverines, but this weekend hit a home run. Maybe she's getting that power stroke back that saw her challenge Romero for the team lead in home runs last year. The 1-1 pitch on its way. Swinging a line shot up the middle. That's a base hit. Lawrence will score from second. Romero takes the turn at second and heads into third base. It's an RBI single for Kelly Christner. Have yourself a day. She is 3 for 3. That outfield shift did not do the Spartans any favors. They're playing way far back, and also the center fielder Forster shaded toward the right center field gap. No chance to cut down the runners.
See, it's difficult to play against Michigan Wolverines team, though, because sometimes it's small ball that they're used to from the last time that they played, and then early in the first inning, as we were just saying, the long ball and the double that Christner had in the third inning. You want to be at the warning track. So it makes a ton of sense for that. There's no good place to be in this outfield right now.
That brings up Kelsey Susala, 1 for 1 with a hit by pitch today. The first pitch on its way from Zalewski. Susala takes, and it misses low and in for ball 1. If only you could put your outfielders over the fence, I think sometimes that might be a wise decision.
Yeah, or maybe just get a few more people out there, maybe a 6-person outfield or something like that.
Time is called, and I think that's Jackie Joseph coming out to talk to her pitcher, Zalewski. Don't see any action in the Spartans bullpen. Then again, it's very hard to see the Spartans bullpen as it is obscured by the left field wall. Either way, it looks like Zalewski is going to remain in this game. She's worked herself into a bit of a jam after retiring the first 4 batters she has seen. That meat of the Michigan lineup, and Lawrence, Romero, Christner, Susala, just so difficult for pitchers to deal with. And hey, if you get through that, you have Tara Blanco and her 400-plus average waiting behind in the number 5 spot.
Yeah, you cannot envy anyone who's going to pitch against the Michigan Wolverines. You're never going to have a sit back and relax inning. You can't throw. You have to always be throwing your absolute best stuff, and then count on an outfield and just a defensive team behind you that can handle it and can shift accordingly, and they haven't been able to thus far.
To compare them to the 1927 Murderers Row Yankees might underestimate the effectiveness of this lineup. The 1-0 pitch on its way from Zalewski. Big cut and a miss just to protect the runner as Christner down to second on the delayed steal. The count moves to 1-1.
I thought you were going to say that was an overstatement. An odd sequence of events there. Huge cut from Kelsey, but it was very low and it was mistimed.
She swung about 2 feet above the ball. That's just to protect Christner on the stolen base. Now runners on second and third. 1-1 the count. Zalewski winds and delivers. Breaking ball, half swing and a miss. That was not intended to protect any runners. She was just fooled by the drop ball out of the right hand of Zalewski.
And it was almost like an uppercut. Not to continue with the golf metaphors, but it was like she had a sand wedge.
Well, she would have needed a golf club to hit that pitch as it dropped toward the bottom and out of the zone. 1-2 the count now on Susala. Holds the bat out in front of her, pulls it back. The 1-2 pitch. Fastball misses low, and the count moves to 2-2 on Susala.
Maybe WCBN should start doing golf next year. What do you think, Morris?
Like broadcasting golf or playing golf? Could be riveting stuff.
Could be really dull.
I know at least a few members who would jump at that opportunity. 2-2 the count. 2 on and 1 out for the Wolverines here in the bottom of the 5th. Zalewski winds. The pitch. Swung on line. Back up the middle. That's a base hit. Scoring from third is Romero. Rounding third and heading home is Christner. The throw is cut off. It's a 2-run single for Kelsey Susala. A 4 RBI day for the Michigan senior on Kelsey Susala Day. She's 2 for 2, and the Wolverines lead this one 6-0.
And Kelsey Susala, she has gotten on base every time that she's having a similar day to Kelly Christner.
What were you saying about odd innings, Brett?
You know what? People don't listen to me at this station. People don't listen to me. There's an odd inning trend going on here, the first, the third, and the fifth. And based on how much run security the Michigan Wolverines are seeing right now and the consistency of their pitching, we might not even see the bottom of the 6th.
This is very, very true. Michigan, a 2 spot in the first inning, a 1 spot in the third. They have put up another crooked number with 3 runs here in the bottom of the 5th. Michigan with 6 runs on 7 hits with 1 error charged to them. Michigan State, no runs on 3 hits with no errors. We have another pitching change out on the mound for the Spartans. Hard to see the number, as we have said, but it is number 17, Hannah Schuler. Schuler, a freshman, has appeared in 2 games this year, only thrown 2/3 of an inning in her time. She's given up 3 runs on 3 hits and 3 walks, none of them earned, however, so her ERA sits at 0. Perhaps statistically impressive, but once you dig behind the numbers, perhaps not so much.
Schuler, a native of Canton, Michigan, not too far away from Ann Arbor, about 8 miles or so from Ann Arbor, Detroit suburb. So kind of closer to home turf here than she would be in East Lansing.
Just a reminder, the trivia question that we asked in the top of the 5th still stands. Who is the all-time leader for the Michigan Wolverines softball team in walks? If you think you have the answer, chime in either with a comment on our YouTube video or on our Twitter account at WCBN Sports. We have yet to receive any responses. It is a tough question. According to the Michigan softball record book, it's a rather recent graduate. Another hint, she played on the team from 2008 to 2011. So if that narrows things down, well, hopefully we'll be able to get ourselves an answer.
And she shares a last name with a WCBN sometimes broadcaster, if that helps you.
I don't think that's going to help much.
At all. I don't know. We'll try to give you the answer in the top of the 6th inning.
If we get there.
We'll definitely get to the top of the 6th inning.
Tara Blanco at the plate. The first pitch she sees, fastball misses high for ball 1. Blanco 0 for 2 with a strikeout looking and a ground out to second in her 2 plate appearances. If Michigan gets to 8 runs here in the bottom of the 5th, it will trigger a run rule mercy victory. So not a given.
True.
The 1-0 pitch to Blanco, breaking ball, that one in there, right down Broadway for a called strike 1. Susawa on first base. Blanco represents the potential game-ending run at home plate. 1-1 the count. Schuler winds and delivers. Blanco hits one high and deep, and that's going to be your ball game. A 2-run bomb for Tara Blanco into the first row of the right field bleachers, and that is a walk-off. The Wolverines take home an 8-0 victory, exploding for 5 runs in the 5th inning.
Hey, ignore me. I make one good comment earlier in this game about an odd inning trend, and then Tara Blanco proves me wrong with another, not as long as a ball as that we saw in the first inning, but a phenomenal ending, game-ending home run and just offensive production and pitching dominance from the Wolverines.
A 300-foot home run and a 210-foot home run both count the same on the scoreboard.
That's right.
Blanco and Susawa's 2-run home runs sandwich what has been a very successful game for the Wolverines. They take home an 8-0 win. For the record, the answer to the trivia question, it is Dorian Shaw, who leads Michigan all-time in walks, in case you were interested. Unfortunately, we didn't get to spill the answer of the 6th because Michigan softball had other plans. They take home an 8-0 win. Your thoughts on the game today, Brett?
I mean, I don't think that there was, a single point where Michigan fans had to worry. I think that they saw a lot of what they've seen all year from this Michigan Wolverines team, which is offensive production, a totally different game than they saw 6 days ago visiting East Lansing, and, another great home win, extending the win streak to 4. Their season continues this weekend on the 22nd with a 3-game series that starts on the 22nd against Maryland. There's a 6 p.m. game and followed by a 2 p.m. game and then a 1 p.m. game. And then the start of the end of the season, just about a month away, less than a month away actually, from the start of the Big Ten tournament.
It's gone by oh so fast. Your winning pitcher today, Sarah Driesinga. The loser, Danny Goranson. Susawa and Blanco with a couple home runs. Susawa and Kristen are both perfect at the plate today. They're probably your 2 heroes on the day for the Wolverines. I'll tell you, I told Brett before the game, we were deciding if maybe we would split play-by-play and color duties. We were deciding on innings, and I told him, we're not going to see 7 innings today. This Michigan softball team came in, they got the job done, and they send their fans home happy as the Blues Brother plays from the Alumni Band.
And talk about the fact that I was saying the pace was pretty good.
We're out of here in an hour and a half.
7:34.
Incredible stuff. This softball team, a joy to watch. The season has gone by so quickly, but we will hope to bring you as much of the remainder as possible. For Brett Graham, for Adam Brodnax, who sat beside us the whole time, and for all of WCBN, I'm Morris Fabry, wishing you a good night and a Go Blue. Thank you so much for tuning in.